Hello and welcome everybody. This is your host Lewa, and you are just in time for another LEGO Bionicle MOC showcase. This time we're looking at Lewa ReBuilt, or as some people call him, Lewa. I've always called him Lewa. I'm going to continue calling him Lewa. So, first question to answer: what is the Toa ReBuilt project? For those of you who haven't caught up with the videos, I will refer you to the very first video in the series, Takanuva ReBuilt, which explains the construction of the Toas in general, seeing as they all use a very similar design to them, and only really differentiate in more decorative ways. And much like the original Toa, much like the original Toa and Bionicle, actually, yeah, the Toa in general. Just come to think of it, this was an attempt to build like a mix of kind of rebuild Toa, the original Toa Mata, in a mix of old Bionicle / Technic pieces and newish Bionicle G2 CCBS, or Character Creature Building System. But yeah, more on that in Takanuva's video. Here we are talking about Lewa in general. So let's go ahead and look at probably the most obvious part of Lewa here that sticks out. This weird looking bow and arrow. Weird looking bow. I was gonna say bow and arrow, but it doesn't really have any arrows in it. So yeah, this was modified from one of the Bionicle G2 Skull Warriors. I think those are the bad guys for the second wave. So yeah, this was heavily modified piece of that. I think pretty much the only thing that remains is part of the long piece. This part here was a lot longer, and then like this whole little mechanism in here that has like the firing stuff that came directly from it. I just removed the side pieces and made it a little slimmer. Kind of ended up making it look a little more vicious because of the spikes, but like it still looks better for Lewa than the one that had like the blue kind of this weird kind of like blue tentacle looking or spider-limb looking thing. But yeah, so it's just a bow. It's an energy bow capable of using Lewa's air elements energy or air, right? Yeah, because it's all air despite the fact he's in the jungle. It's always been a confusing thing for me, despite the fact this guy's my favorite Toa. I still don't know what element he is. And neither did LEGO, apparently, if G2 has anything to say about it. But yeah, so he can use his air elements to fuel the bow and kind of fire either rapid fire shots, or he can charge it as if he's like pulling it back and fire more powerful attacks. Actually, it probably might be better to hold it like. So yeah. So you can like just kind of quick fire, pop, 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 pop. It's kind of like quick draw on the bow, not a whole lot of damage. Or you can just like pull back further and fire a more stronger, concentrated blast of energy. But yeah, so yeah, that's the bow. We'll go ahead and set that aside for the time being, and look at Lewa in general. There are a few things I do have to say real quick. Well, one thing I have to say real quick before we go too much further, I am missing a piece right now currently. As I went to record him, I noticed that one of the pieces had fallen off, and it is really bugging me because I cannot seem to find it for the life of me where it is. Despite the fact that like I know where it had to have fallen, and I tore that area up, and like I looked in the surrounding area, and I still can't find it. So you know what? I just said screw it. I'm gonna order the piece online, and it'll be here in a few well, probably by sometime next week, because we're currently, for the first time in a few years, suffering a winter storm. Which, yay for me. Everyone else seems to not care too much about the snow here in Texas. Anyway, we'll go and get that part out of the way here, actually. So back here we see one of what's supposed to be two of his Air Katanas from his Takanuva form. These are supposed to kind of like act like wings, decorative, much like with Tahu and Gali's. Well, Gali's wings are actually a little more practical in the underwater, but the point standing, because he can levitate with his mask. So yeah, but yeah, I only have the one. The other one literally fell out. Yeah, I got like. Guarantee I'm gonna find it after I get done with this video, but whatever. Yeah. As for the general design, I wanted to use some of the more base green colors, but those are a little harder to find in the CCBS armor, the Hero Factory armor sets. And I really like the dark green as well. Dark green is one of my favorite colors. I knew I was gonna have to use dark green for the leg pieces because I knew right away I was going to need the Rakshi legs, because I just thought they'd be a good kind of fit for them. Thin, tall, not too short. And so I was like, okay, well, we'll just do like, you know, green, like varying shades of green. Like you can see in his arms, he's got this kind of olive green, which kind of helps give him this kind of, that's where his arms are. Gives him some depth, I guess you could say. But so yeah, back to the dark green. This particular piece, and then this one, I believe the let me take this off here. The size 3 armor piece, and then the next one is the size 4. They do make both of those in dark green. The caveat, though, to get the longer, the next up piece, you can only find it in Europe, and I didn't feel like paying $10 in shipping just for what is essentially one piece. Actually, I'm not sure how much shipping will be. I'm almost certain to be more than $10. It's probably like 20 or 30 because it's overseas shipping. Because the closest one I ever found was in the UK. Apparently, it existed in a set that we got as well in the States, but for some reason internationally they used a different piece. You can't see this right now. I'm rubbing the temple of the sides of my head in just frustration. But yeah. Anyway, but that's okay. I decided to go to some of the silver because I have another character which we'll get into eventually. And I just had some things fall. And I did the same. I had to do the same thing with him as well. So I had to use the silver and the dark green, and yeah, it worked out fine with him. It worked out better with Lewa, in my opinion, because you get this kind of like shoulder and then like leg armor up here. Speaking of, we should probably go over the armor at this point. So on the side, you see some of these little bits of leaves and stuff. You see them on the legs here too. I liked how they looked. I wanted to give him this kind of like grassy look, like he had like his arm, like he had like put grass on his armor or something like that, you know. And I've seen some people do stuff with this where they had like wraps like some string or something around it to give him this kind of like he tied these like leaves to his arm. I didn't want to go quite that far, but I did like how that looked. And I also saw one other guy, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Callan? Is that his name? Maybe. Who had like this big leaf, this palm leaf Lego piece on Lewa's chest. And I thought about doing that too for him, but when I got the part in and I put it on him, it just didn't look right to me. I just didn't like how it looked. I didn't like how it did not feel secure, and one of the things I wanted to do is I want to make sure these pieces were secure, because, you know, I want to be able to play with my pieces, you know, I want to be able to move them around and stuff without worrying about them falling off. Speaking of pieces falling off, it was at about around the point I was building Lewa, which would be probably about the third Toa in at this point. I hadn't quite built Gali yet. I had built Tahu and Kopaka. That I started realizing the ball joint issue that I'd mentioned way back with. Actually, I mentioned them in a few videos, where the ball joints just don't seem to want to stay on, which is why I use the pass-through ball joints for the even for the leg pieces here. You'll see because those at least will stay in, as opposed to the regular joints. So yeah, so giving him a lot more of the kind of au natural look with the leaves on his legs and his arms. The kind of, imagine these kind of like big leaves. I had these in black, and I tried them on him when it had black, and I thought like the color obviously didn't work because, you know, he's a green guy. He doesn't really have a whole lot of black on him. But I did like the way they looked. Kind of give them, at the very least, kind of like a makeshift natural armor look. And so I attached it to him. Got the green one. Got the lime green, which is the only other color they have of those, apparently. And yeah. As for the two axes on his side, these were inspired heavily by, I think, it's Little Brotherhood of Makuta, I think, is what they're called. It's this guy who does these stop motion animations with Bionicle pieces, and he uses like big, elaborate custom Bionicles to build them. He builds them, and he had done this this animation, or like Lewa fighting Nui Jaga, the big scorpion thing, and he had these on the side of him. I don't know if they were decorative or if they were actually could be used as actual axes. I liked the way they looked, and so I just basically copied them verbatim and just tried to figure out a way to have them mount on his side, which included using these little T pieces. Pieces I really enjoy using, actually. I have a few other characters that use them. And so yeah, I gave him these kind of jungle axes, kind of an homage to his original main weapon in his original axe. And these can be held, you know, right where they are right now. They can be adjusted. If I can get the pieces out here, because these things stick in like crazy. You can like hold them up close. You can kind of do like, you know, quick punches and jabs with his axes. And then you can even hold them. You're gonna have to let you fall there, dude. You can hold them at the very edge. There we go. Sorry, I keep taking them off camera. Like that, and you get the idea. Supposed to kind of, yeah. I don't have many weapons that actually do that, or you can like pick and choose where to hold them. But with Lewa, it was one of the first I started doing that with. So yeah. Like I said, he's supposed to have the Air Katanas on his back as kind of an homage to the original Takanuva form, having the Air Katanas just as weapons in general. But he's missing one because, I don't know, I guess it grew legs and walked away. Yeah. Going up to his face here, obviously with all the others, colored head to match his body. He has I believe this is the red or the orange brain stock, which I think might be his original color, his original eye color. Obviously the green Miru, Mask of Levitation, his original color. And I think If there's anything else I need to say about him. No place to store his bow when he's not using it. Haven't really been able to find a solution to that yet. But yeah. So yeah, I think we have everything covered with Lewa. So yeah, until next time, I'll see you guys later.